You're welcome back. This is a special edition of Business Incorporated, and now it's MPC time. We're waiting the central bank's MPC and the decision that they will make. That'll be the second one for the year. And we still have in the studio Professor of Economics and Public Policy with the University of Uyo. He's also the Chairman, Foundation for Economic Research and Training, Professor Akpanekbo. And also we have the Chief Executive Officer of Transerve Disk Technologies, Mr. Cyprian Oracle. Good to have you. Thank you for your patience.
Thank you, madam.
Okay, so I wanted us to move away from the foreign exchange, but during the break you did say hints that there are so many areas of this that we haven't touched yet, the issue of foreign exchange.
Yeah. From, when Prof was speaking, Prof talks about the availability, okay, that government may have good intention, okay, to make it available, but government may not have it available. But the experience I have had in the last few months, I realized that it may not be available at the official market, which trades at between 420 per dollar to 450. Spot is about 450 naira per dollar. But then there's what they call non-cash market, whereby the people that own foreign exchange in one bank can transfer to another bank where it is needed. Now, this market is liquid. Any amount of FX that you want today from many sources, if you want it in GT Bank, if you want it in Zenith Bank, those that have FX in those banks are willing to sell to you to transfer it to the bank that you want, and you can make payment from that bank. Now, so this
But it comes at a cost.
It comes at a cost, as I'm talking to you today, is between 588 to 590 naira per dollar. Now, if government can work out how to make policies around this market, because it means that this money is available, but to create the policies that can drive this money. Okay, much of these rates are because of uncertainties and fears in the market. The rate might not be real. Okay, but if it is predictable, if the market is predictable, if the manufacturer knows that he's going to get FX when he needs it, he does not need to buy FX that he does not need.
But isn't that what the CBN has been trying to do? First of all, they got the Bureau de Change guys off, one way or the other. Okay. And now they are saying that they're going to halt selling FX to banks by the end of the year. Just to make everybody go into, is this not enough to pull this out of the system? What kind of policy do you think can actually...
I don't know where the people...
Maybe Prof,
yeah.
Prof will have the policy.
That's why I was saying that maybe we don't have enough.
But he's saying we have enough.
No, he's saying we have enough in the system.
Yes.
Yes. But in terms of enough for where we will use the market to determine who gets the Forex, we don't have enough. So what he's saying is that there are people who have this Forex, they can move from one bank to another bank. If you have enough, you won't have them existing. I don't get my point.
So you are back to that argument.
Yes.
There's the argument of supply and there's the argument of pricing.
Yeah, because we don't have enough, so they hoard. And they said, for example, now 588. When I last checked, it was 573. So you see, they have it. They put a cost to it. And so if you have enough, that distortion will not exist. I don't get my point. And you will never have enough because the currency is not yours. So.
But if we had enough exports, for instance, at this time when oil price is surging.
So you have to have an economy where the economy is productive, exporting non-oil goods and services to earn foreign exchange. So you don't worry about, foreign exchange. Now everything is about foreign exchange because you don't have enough, people have to import this and import that. So the point is making that people, the dollars available in the system, people hoard it and sell the higher cost. That has always been there. But now it is not even higher, the cost. That's the big problem. As we arrive at it, one way is to move the bar, is to say, so let us put the option at 588. But if you do that, it will shift again.
So is there no way to, because, this is what some other analysts have talked about, merging the markets.
Yes.
Isn't it possible?
You can merge it, but
how?
by fiat, perhaps if you merge it in about 2 or 3 months, you have another distortion because that currency is not yours.
It's not enough.
That's
It's not ours or it's not enough?
Well, first of all, it's not our currency.
I don't think in a country like Russia, before they had this issue...
No, but the Russian economy is not like our economy, no matter how we say it. Yeah? It's more developed, okay? The ruble is quoted in other countries. Nobody quotes Naira in other banks. I don't get my point. So that is the major issue. So what they should do is preferred sector. We have to go back to it. Manufacturing is a preferred sector, okay? Such as agric. So that sector should have access to foreign exchange because it has positive multiplier effect in the economy in the medium and long term. That's what this CBN should do.
But when you say you want to make manufacturing preferred, then the aviation will come and tell you, well, there are also an important...
but it depends on which sector will have more impact. When you say aviation, I agree, but those that fly and not fly are not really... He's employing people to work. As they work, they pay tax, and they have families, and that goes on. If he lays staff off, it's a big problem for society. Okay, so there are all sectors are important, but there are some that are more important than others in a short and medium term until we make progress. The point is that we've been doing hard hawk over the years. Okay, that's the major problem. So, for example, Japan doesn't care what the yen is to the dollar. I mean, they care, but they don't care because the economy is so demand and supply decides. But here it's a big problem because I kept arguing that for years. That currency is not yours. So because of that, CBN wants to manage it, but how do you manage it? That's a problem. We thought it was 418 to 575. Now it's even 588. I agree with him. Or 590. 590. So it's a big problem. And when you don't bring at that price, of course, other issues that you don't know what it will be tomorrow.
And it seems like people, I mean, the CBN governor talked about round tripping. I think that's why we had the e-invoice,
that is it. So if you can get at the IE window at 418,
and then you can
round trip at 588 without importing anything.
So are the banks helping in this? Because are the banks helping to solve this problem? That's what CBN should find out,
because you be rational to get at 418 instead of wasting time to import anything. You sell at 588.
And then you make your money.
And then you sleep. Why do you have a problem? That is the issue. So CBN needs to get that. Maybe CBN or other agencies need to find out what is going on. Since the Forex is a crucial variable.
If I may come in there,
yes,
Prof,
sir,
for the manufacturers, what our major problem is not knowing when we can have FX, when we need it. The uncertainty. Yeah. If I know that if I need $100,000 FX, that every 2 weeks that I can have it, every 60 days that I can have it, all I will do will be to plan. But a case whereby it is unknown, I did a transaction last year, March, okay, which a bank used their foreign line to make payment. Now, I'm supposed to the bank's supposed to go to CBN and bid and replace from the line where they got the FX from. Now, they have made payments to the supplier, which was excellent. I mean, no supplier wants every 2 weeks, they will receive $2,000 success bid. Every 2 weeks, they receive $4,000 success bid. They want their money in bulk. So some banks that have good line overseas, they use their line to make this payment, one-off payment. Now, it is expected that they will go to FX market and bid and then replace the one that they have lent out to you. I did a transaction since last year. I deposited 140% as a cash cover. From that last year, March, till now, the bank
Last year, March, that's a year.
Till now, a year. The bank has not finished. They have not gotten enough allocation from CBN to replace the payment they made on our behalf. And I am paying post-negotiation rate at over 9% per annum. I'm also supposed to be paying for the Naira, assuming that the Naira was not my cash. Okay, if I borrow that Naira, that was 140%, I'm paying 25% on Naira interest.
So why won't we have inflation? Because, I mean, you pass all this to your goods.
So it means that I'm actually paying about 35%. And I have paid that for 1 year. Okay, so which product can you pass that cost to?
Yeah, it's a problem.
Okay, so if CBN can organize themselves with the banks and let the manufacturers be able to say, if I demand at this period, that within this period, I will certainly get the necessary funds. That will reduce the pressure in the industry. Because what is causing this problem is lack of confidence. Okay, if CBN should build confidence in the industry, there won't be any pressure or people buying in anticipation that the price may go higher. In the past 2 weeks, it has gone down from 570 to 600, almost 600 now. Okay, so people are panically buying because there is danger that it will get to 1,000 before the end of this year.
So, Prof, how much of this is being impacted or driven by the hike in interest rates, you know, in the U.S.?
The U.S. interest rate hike just of recent.
Yes, last week.
It will further raise rates. Yes, definitely. The U.S. has hiked its rate. The Bank of England is the same. So it will further compound their problems. So that is definitely it's a big problem. You know, we used to think that inflation affects only the poor. They don't save, so they don't have enough. But now, people like his sector, they're affected. But I must also say that in a real economy, inflation itself is a price. So I think an incentive to produce and end at high price. But when you draw the line, it becomes a problem. You know.
Okay, but the war going on in Ukraine, Mr. Rapo, how much of that has affected you as a manufacturer in Nigeria? Because it's a major factor now. Commodities prices, oil prices, diesel. Last week we had the Bakers Association threatening to shut down because of the hike in the price of diesel. How much has that affected you?
I'm sure you don't want to hear.
Give us a little bit of it.
I'm very sure you don't want to hear because I use my company as an example.
Yes.
What we pay.
What do you produce?
Power. I will manufacture face mask.
Okay.
I will also manufacture optical disc, CD and DVD. On average, if we use Ikeja Electric, they supply us power. If they give us about 20 hours a day for a month, we pay about 13 or 14 million naira, okay, to them. But this, and then we pay about 3 or 4 million naira as for the cost of diesel. But with the current price of diesel now, our cost of power might be as high as 25 to 30 million.
Wow. When
all things being equal, we shouldn't be more than 12 or 13 million. So how do I pass over this cost to my customers? It's not possible.
Yeah.
Many companies have shut down as a result. Some are not producing again. Because some of the factories, your machines must be on 24 hours. So even when you don't have order to produce, your power must be on. You can't switch off because of no order. Because if you do that, you suffer more losses.
But I'm happy to even hear that you have 20 hours of power a day.
I say, they do.
I think you have special arrangements.
We have special,
okay,
not really special arrangements. It's
your
available
tariff
for.
is,
your tariff is high.
Yes.
You pay more.
I think they do it for some residentials also.
Yeah, for 33 kV line. When you're on 33 kV line, you can get up to 18 hours a day. Okay.
That's another big issue, which I don't know how we solve it. Where for almost 60 years, we cannot solve the power problem. It's not.
I mean, even spending what you call normal of about 15 million. That's a huge.
Yeah, it's not rocket science.
Yeah.
So there's a problem, but I'm sure that's not why we're here today. But
well, it's all part of it.
But it's an input into what is doing. Yes,
exactly, which passes on. And we're talking of inflation now.
Definitely,
Prof, I mean, we saw that inflation in February went to 15.7.
Yes.
I wonder what it will be at the end of this month. Because, I mean, with all of this diesel, petrol, you know, commodities, we don't have wheat anymore. People are turning to corn, which is not even available. You know, I just imagine. I'm trying to imagine.
Well, see, definitely it will rise. It will increase. But by how much I cannot say, because in our discipline you need some model to forecast that, and yet it may not be correct. But definitely it has to go up. With the global problem now, as you said, wheat, the USA Reserve Bank hike in rates, the Bank of England, with all the domestic problems here, shortages and so on and so forth, definitely I'll be surprised if inflation does not hit about 20%.
Wow.
Yes.
And then unfortunately we cannot, I mean, Angola is doing so well at this time. You know, they're making the most of the hike in oil prices.
Well, we also export crude oil.
Yeah, but
Revenue, but the problem.
our production has dropped.
Yes,
Last month it dropped by 10%. This month it should drop further.
That's also an irony. We talk about foreign exchange being available. How can a country export crude oil and import refined products? The import bill, 2/3 of it goes to import refined products. If refineries are working, and we're producing enough for domestic use, that forex we're giving to that sector. I don't know whether you get my point.
Yeah.
Does it make sense? So a lot of issues, you know.
So these are the factors before the Monetary Policy Committee.
Well, for me, I was thinking that if I'm in the MPC, I will hike the MPR a little bit. I will not let it stay again at 11.5. To fight the.
I mean, already 11.5 is high.
You see, 11.5 is high.
Yes.
If you take that away from the, if you remove it from their inflation of 15.7, okay, it means that the real interest rate is negative. That's the meaning of it, which further shows that there's no, the savings investment, they're not consistent. That's a problem. So what do you do? But now you have to fight inflation. There's something that you're expecting. It will come. So you hike it a little bit to anticipate that, because the other sector, the fiscal sector, is more involved in spending. Yeah? And you know, if your spending is increasing over time, it will also affect inflation. Even inflation, we say, is a monetary phenomenon. It can also be a fiscal problem. So if I see CBN, I will hike the MPR a little bit.
Wow.
And then look also at the forex area.
That's very important.
Yeah.
Let's just hold on, sirs.
Yeah.
We'll take a short break now. When we come back, we're still awaiting. Remember, this is supposed to be a 2-day meeting, so normally the MPC will meet on the first day, and then they'll release the decision on the second day. But in this case now, we have the meeting and the decision on the same day, so we just have to hold on for a bit. Let's take a break now. When we come back, we'll continue this conversation and await the MPC decision for the month of March. Welcome back. It's decision day. MPC meeting as we speak, and we are waiting their decision. I have with me still in the studio Professor of Economics and Public Policy at the University of Uyo, Professor Akpaneko, and the Chief Executive Officer of Transurf Disk Technologies. He's also the CEO of Transgreen Nigeria Limited, Mr. Cyprian Oraku. Well, remember, as I said just before we went on the break, normally the MPC is 2 days, and it's supposed to be today and tomorrow, but for this month, it's just 1 day. So as we speak, the meeting is going on. Decision is yet to be reached. So we'll just wrap up in a couple of minutes, and then we'll be back when the MPC's decision is ready, when the central bank governor will be out to make that decision. So just before we wrap up, let's start with you, Mr. Oraku. So is there a way out?
Yeah. I remember that about 4 or 5 years ago, I'm not too sure when, but when this I&E window was opened, that it was a novel policy that moderated the spikes in foreign exchange market, that all the exporters, that they were, they know that there's a market where they can sell at the market price. And they drove down the rate, the black market rate, successfully. And I believe it is this fund in I&E window that we have a non-cash market, or wherever the cash is coming from. Because like I said, that the market is liquid, okay? If I want $1 million, $5 million today, okay, if I send the request today, I will have those monies transferred to the bank where I need them. I believe this money came from different sources. and CBN allowed this transaction. It's a legal, it's a legitimate transaction. So can CBN build this market and do policies that will create confidence and assurances to the players in this market? This is what I think that can really stabilize the spikes in the foreign exchange market. The users of the FX, they can say that if I go to this market, I can get. The sellers of the FX, they know that if they bring this money to this market, they can sell. So that will stabilize the
You
rates.
don't think the solution is actually focusing on supply?
You mean the supply of the FX?
Yes.
It is part of it, because where would the supply come from? The supply, the CBN is limited by the oil production. We are producing probably 1.6 million barrels per day. We're not even hitting the OPEC quota for 1,001 reasons peculiar to Nigeria, because things that are easy and simple in other countries are difficult in Nigeria. Now, if CBN should use under recovery, after the under recovery, what is left cannot fund any sector in Nigeria. So it's a fact that everybody knows. Okay, but then there are sources where that money come into Nigeria. Okay, whether it is through equity investors or through the buyers of our stock and what have you. But there must be a market that will create that confidence in the
like today, the NPC in Cairo launched the Nigeria Trade House. And when I spoke to the executive director earlier, what he says is there's a focus on, for instance, ginger and sesame seed. These are intentional efforts, you know, to try and boost non-oil exports. Do you see these as one of the ways?
You see, these things can easily happen outside Nigeria. In Nigeria, to export is another problem. Even when you have the products you want to export, okay?
But I think what you're saying is that Nigerian farmers export ginger.
Yes.
They will end forex.
Yes, that's the plan.
Now, we must create a good export platform that if you move your
containers... Don't we have a good export platform?
No, we don't.
Wow.
If you move a container of ginger to port, you should be able to move it out of Nigeria.
Yes.
But I can tell you that it's not as easy as that.
What are the hindrances?
There are many.
Paperwork.
There are lots.
There are lots. There are lots. I did an export. In the product that we manufacture, okay, we also occasionally will export the scraps for them to reprocess it and send back to us. The process of doing that, the time it was, if to export to an African country is actually the most difficult thing to do.
That is true.
Because you don't have a vessel selling direct from Nigeria to any African country.
No, it's true.
And we want to promote FCFTA.
As close as Ghana is. As close as Benin Republic is. You don't have any vessel. Are you going to move it from land? You know the problems we have moving things, the insecurities and so on. Okay, so how do you solve the problem? That's why I said that the things that are easy and simple in other countries are difficult in Nigeria.
Wow. All right, but we will not give up.
No, we can't give up. But,
we will not give up. It's our country,
right.
And we have to keep working at it. So I really have to thank you for now, for this break. I hope you would be here when we return for the decision. Professor Afanekro and Mr. Cyprian Orapo, thank you so much. We'll just return to our normal programming, just awaiting the decision of the MPC. Once the CBN governor is ready to brief on that, we'll be back to conclude this conversation and, of course, bring to you what the decision of the MPC is for the month of March. So do stick around, and we'll be back in maybe a couple of minutes or hours. We'll be right back here.